welcome to the best of 1991 for the Interjections podcast, the Undiscovered Decade. We're your hosts. We've been going through our second year of this strange decade. We're finally catching up to films that we started seeing in theaters or at all. But just like last year, we're going to go through and talk about our collective 5 favorite films. Last year I mentioned we went about this with what was called a Borda count, based on this French mathematician who came up with a structure. You can say we all have different movies all in our top 5. If we both have a certain movie, we pick based on the points. Say our number 1 film gets 5 points, our number 2 gets 4, etc. And we calculate the point totals, and I've come up with a top 5. So we're pretty much ready to go, I guess.
Okay, here we are, together again for the very second time.
Yeah. That's what I was going to do right before that. We do have a couple of honorable mentions, because it was actually more clear-cut than last year. So the top 5, there was a tie in 5th place last year. So I mentioned an honorable mention that we didn't include, but there were 3 that were just below that. That would be Soapdish, which was on your list. Silence of the Lambs, which was on your list, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze, which was on my list. They all happened to get into 3rd place in our list, which means they only ended up with 3 points each.
Which bodes well for my picks.
Mm-hmm. It's a very Jeff-centric list. So
Really?
why don't we go with number 5 right away?
Oh, all right. Number 5. Oh yeah, production value, baby.
Oh, Christ.
Oh. I mean, that was a good movie.
I liked it fine.
I
It
don't know.
wouldn't have been in my top 5. I think it was in my top 15, maybe.
This was my number 1, so now
That explains
I'm
it.
a little bit deflated.
It got 5 points, so it ended up just sneaking in.
So what movie is this, Tristan?
This is Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. We have our 2 right there. Do you want to discuss, since this was your favorite film, why it was your favorite film?
It was a misunderstood buddy comedy, in my opinion. It was
Not
supposed
wrong.
to be. It was an action adventure with Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson as 2 former partners in crime, who, it's the typical, they get together for one last job, and they're trying to save the bar that they basically grew up in, and all hell breaks loose. But it was a genuine, the action was fine, the villain was stale, but
I mean, it was Tom Sizemore.
This is not a glowing review.
no. But the heart of it.
Tom
the heart of it.
Stale. That's
a credit to us.
Right. in his
He needs
weird,
to be stale.
in his weird matrixy bulletproof trench coat. But
Yeah.
the heart of it was the relationship between the 2 main characters, because it was a genuine friendship that you don't usually see in these types of movies. I think because of that, people thought that it was slow paced and kind of lame, and they wanted to see Bruce Willis blowing shit up, but instead they see these 2 guys literally hugging it out on an airfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there was another picture I almost used of them sitting up on that billboard talking about life and what it means to them. That's the best scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even if it slows everything down a little bit, that's, to your point, it's more about masculine friendship than blowing shit up.
Yeah.
So
God,
there's a different
man.
way than...
Isn't he weird? God.
Yeah, and this movie takes
It's a little
place...
goofy.
As existentialism is...
The best part is this movie takes place in the future, but not the far future. It's 96?
1996.
That is odd.
It's 5 years from...
There's no reason to set it in the future.
The future 1996.
Well, they had to make sense of some random giant
the new
cyber
designer
drug.
Yeah, the new designer drug, the new
just push it a
the new
little
airport
forward.
that came in and is causing gentrification. So they needed time for those to...
You know what? I will say, in the era of revivals that we're in now, I would like to see a belated sequel with these 2
They're still
again.
around.
CBS series.
Mickey Rourke's ready,
That's
and I'm sure Don Johnson be game.
They just did a Nash Bridges revival.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
apparently.
they could bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be actually up for that.
That'll be.
And I also appreciate, because this is one of only 2 of our 12 focused films to be in our top 5. The other 3 are films we didn't discuss.
Oh wow.
So I actually am fine with this being in here.
Yeah.
Would you
A
say
hidden
it's
gem.
two cool
It was-
guys in a bad
There's two
situation?
pretty okay guys in a bad situation of their own design.
Two half
But-
decent fellas.
It's also the epitome of what our podcast is about, being a
Right.
truly hidden gem.
Yeah.
Two decent fellas fall into dire straits.
You guys can watch that on the archives.
August 91.
Boop. Number 4.
This is a Corey special.
Ooh.
This was his number 1 film.
Okay.
Yeah, The Fisher King. Terry Gilliam, like slice of life movie, which is not something he usually does. He usually does fantasy films, big epic fantasy films. Terry Gilliam, who some people might not know, is the American counterpart in the Monty Python troupe.
Mm.
Yeah, the only
And
one who
it's
had-
actually
Mhm.
it's a Richard Gravenet's script.
Yeah, what else did he do?
He did Living Out Loud. He does more like character-based dramas, so that's why it was a weird choice for them to get Terry Gilliam to do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of chemistry between the two main characters, these two in particular are impeccable together. And around this time is when Ron Williams was starting to get a little more dramatic work,
Mm-hmm.
because
Gets his
he
Oscar
started off
7
his
years
career
later.
with Popeye, which is not the best calling card if you want to be an actor, but
He just done Awakenings.
yeah, Awakenings,
Yeah.
which was pure drama. But in this,
Yeah.
he it's actually more romantic than you would think. This movie, and it actually has it's done on a grand scale. So it actually has really sprawling photography of New York for the
Mm.
most part.
I might like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a weird Arthurian legend, like contemporized in modern day setting in this.
I've heard the other picture I almost chose for this was Robin Williams holding a sword at the camera.
Yeah,
So- but I want to get Jeff in there too.
it's a weird, surreal blending of like drama and fantasy, but it's seamless. I think it's up there with like Brazil in terms of Terry Gilliam's best movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have not seen this, unfortunately. So this is one of 2 of the top 5 I haven't seen, actually.
Oh,
And
on the list.
I don't know if you 2 ever saw this. but-
Nope.
I have not.
Yeah. So we
But-
have to catch up on this. I
but-
wanted to try and get this by the time we talked about it, which was, I think, April 91?
yeah.
Somewhere
Actually, I
early in
didn't
the-
see it until last year when
we
I
did
picked
this.
up the Criterion.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a favorite in when we were in school and shooting little projects, and people wandered by on the street and they'd be like, "What are you guys shooting?" We're like, "Fisher King 2."
I'm like, okay.
So that was the only my only exposure to it was just that reference. But number 3.
Yeah.
This is the second one I haven't seen.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
boy.
is An American
Oh,
Tale.
American
Oh wait, no,
Tale.
I haven't seen the original.
Wait, you've seen
Five
this?
Fingers Goes West.
I've seen this one.
I was gonna say you've
I kept
seen
thinking
this.
about. I'm not awakened.
Now who's on
What a
whose list
picture
was
to
this?
choose.
I know. Well, the one I wanted to use was a better one of him, like in front of the saloon, and it wasn't working with the computer.
First of
so
all, fetishizing the gun culture.
I know.
Come on, this is kind of a problematic image. I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel about it.
What's he doing in there?
It's a mouse with a gun.
What's on his
Is he
finger?
reading? Or?
You
I
picked
was
the
gonna
This,
say,
picture.
he's twirling the other pistol. This is a motion blur.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
So
Wow.
whose
Very
list had this?
That was Jeff and Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
okay.
have this, but it I believe got 7 points, so it just gets above. So
This
one of
is
you
the
had it in
second-
4th, one of you had it in 3rd.
This is the second
is-
animated movie where John Candy plays a sidekick. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because Rescuers
Think
Down
so.
Under, he was also in.
He's basically doing the same thing. He's a cat now instead of a seagull or condor. What was
He was a
He was a seagull, I think.
something that can
albatross.
fly.
Albatross.
Yeah, something that can
Something
fly.
like
yeah.
that. What,
It was an albatross.
some seafaring
Yeah.
fly.
So he's playing the same character.
So
Mhm.
Jeff, what? Jeff, why'd you pick it?
I mean, it was mostly nostalgia. I remember watching this one a lot. I saw this version more than the original when I was.
They
younger.
aired this more.
So, well, yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, they
This
this
the
was
sequel
on a
to
lot.
The
Yeah.
American Tale was like, the first one was
Hell,
an
like,
immigration
even-
story.
Yeah.
Like-
Even on like Saturday morning cartoons, there was commercials with like Fievel
Yeah.
just
Definitely
being in
how I
a
saw it.
commercial, not like a trailer or a promo for the movie. It was like Fievel was doing a commercial for what, ABC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ABC.
I have a distinct memory of going down to Universal Studios and Disney and everything down in Florida, And this was still a big thing at the park. There was like a little Fievel area.
Yeah.
And I had seen it maybe once, but I got really excited about the Western stuff. And watched it a couple times after I got back because they were still airing it on Saturday mornings. So I was big into this, thinking it was the only one, not realizing there was the immigration story one.
Yeah. I mean, they're
Right.
both.
That one was way
My
more,
version
I think,
was-
geared towards adults. This one's more kid-centric.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's fine.
Baby's first Western.
Yeah,
You know.
basically.
It's also Jimmy's number one.
Yeah, it was
Down-
my number
It's
one.
also much more colorful than the first one. First one's kind of dank.
Yeah, it's a little
gloomy,
drab.
Yeah.
I mean, fits New York.
And,
Sure,
and
for
Ellis
the time.
Island.
Yeah.
And-
Not ideal.
No.
I don't even remember the plot of how he gets to the West.
I thought he got caught on the train.
Yeah.
Didn't he accidentally get on the train? He's
Yeah.
like, well, I guess I'm going west.
No. What happened was like there was a lot of like violence back home in the city, and like it
yeah.
got so bad that everyone was like, we gotta get out of here. We gotta go somewhere. And it was like, why not move west? And like the whole violence was actually a setup by this like evil like cat type dude.
Cat.
Yeah. He was trying to drive the mice and all the other like little critters out from the city into the west, so that way,
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rent control.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah. But like, I think also like there was a whole big plan to like get them out there and eat them.
Yeah, I remember that
Get as much
because
money out of them as possible,
John
and then eat them.
Candy's cat knows about the plot and he feels bad because he's a cat that doesn't want to eat mice. Isn't he a vegetarian?
Yeah, he's a
or something?
vegetarian.
Yeah.
So he's like, he finds out and saves them or helps
Yeah.
save them.
It's the most like as an adult like describing it, it's like that's the most convoluted way to just eat mice.
Yeah, just go get them.
Just go get them.
It's also Jimmy Stewart's last role at all. He
Oh,
dies.
wow.
He dies in '97, I believe. So this is it.
Hmm.
He had not really acted in a live action film since what, The Shootist, you were saying,
The Shooters, yeah.
which is in the
With John
late
Wayne.
'70s.
Yeah.
So he hadn't really done
70
it,
or 80.
basically retired.
Yeah.
But he came back to do this western since he had been in a bunch. So it was a nice little cameo.
All right.
Well,
So-
that's the first three. Number two is
All right.
another collective one that
Here
was on
we
a couple
go.
of our lists.
Number 2.
The
Oh,
Rocketeer.
Rocketeer.
The Rocketeer.
First film I saw in theaters. This actually leads me to ask a question. We covered this for an episode as well. So this is the other one that we had.
I'm curious to see what number one's going to be now.
This is not my number one, by the way. My number one is our number
That's
one.
shocking.
Yeah, this is my number two, which is why it's up here. I believe it got 10 points.
Oh, I know what number one.
Oh, so your
Yeah.
number two got
Our
number
number
two,
one is
huh?
on all four of our lists.
Well, hey, let's
so.
talk about number 2, because
But-
that's what's up.
Number
Yeah.
two, for The Rocketeer, I wanted to ask, because I said this during that episode, this was my first film I ever saw in theaters. I don't remember ever asking you guys what your first film you saw in theaters was. Did I ask you? Do you remember?
I'm trying to think the first one I had a recollection of. Oh, I know. It was, they put Snow White back in theaters and I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the first film that I remember seeing, I don't know what the first film was for sure, but the first film I remember seeing in theaters was Jurassic Park.
That's fine.
I do too, actually,
Yeah.
because
It's
I
a
got
little
scared
late.
during the first scene just hearing the dinosaur in the box and I
Mhm.
ran into the aisle. My mom had to console me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, like I
Freaked out.
my sister and I freaked out when the Velociraptor popped out and tried to eat Ellie Sattler near the end. That's when I lost my shit
Mm-hmm.
because that caught me off guard. I was like, oh my god, scary, creepy
So
thing.
thanks, Spielberg. You
Speaking-
traumatized the whole generation.
But
of
I
kids.
love the movies like so much. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Dinosaurs. The dinosaurs meant to be scary.
Yeah.
I'll be
I
fair.
remember, I don't remember the first movie I saw in theaters, but like the first movie that I was obsessed with. I don't remember which came first. Was it Toy Story or Casper?
Casper.
Both are 95.
Wait, no.
Casper was before Toy Story.
Okay.
It's May.
Yeah,
Toy
Casper
Story.
was winter.
Casper was
I
the
thought
first
May was
time.
Toy
I
Story.
don't know. They were both summer.
Yeah, I thought Casper was like June. I think it's about the same time.
Toy Story still holds the record for the amount of things times I've seen a movie in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
But that was because tickets were like $4 for a kid, so
Yeah.
it was easy.
That's basically a babysitter.
Right. But
Casper came out on your birthday.
Casper, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No,
In
that's why you
95.
got fun
That's
memories.
So maybe
That's why they
maybe
took
it's
it.
all for
No,
your
because I
birthday.
was just like, I love that movie,
And
and
Toy
that was
Story
the
was
first time
November.
I remember like really, really can't wait until it comes out on home video.
Mm-hmm.
And then you probably freaked out because you're like, Ray Stantz is in that movie too. He's got a cameo.
Right.
It's a
Well, there
Ghostbusters
was
cameo in that movie.
Actually, I think I saw Casper before I saw Ghostbusters.
So you didn't
So I
even
didn't
get the
see
reference.
Casper.
Oh, wow.
I got the
Backwards.
reference.
I still haven't seen Casper.
Oh, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the special effects don't hold up now, but, you know, Christina Ricci,
Mhm.
Bill
Big
Pullman.
fan of
Bill
hers.
Pullman.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Is
Yeah.
He's got a cameo.
he? Yeah, it's fine. A bunch
Yeah.
has been spoiled for me
Yeah.
recently too, so
Well, maybe
it's
we'll,
like it's 26 years later. I can't
And
fault it.
And then Casper's three uncles were just they
Yeah, I had a bunch
They
of
sealed the
trading
deal.
cards too, so I kind of saw the movie in trading card form because I used to
Wait,
collect a bunch of sets of
what
movies.
were
like
the
Hook.
uncles' names? Like Fatso, Stinky, and
Stretch.
Stretch.
Nice,
Okay.
yeah. I like Stretch.
I remember I used
Yeah,
to have
Stretch
like
was
the toys. From,
like.
they had like Pizza Hut toys or
Mhm.
something.
Oh
I
yeah.
had
We'll talk
Stretch.
about this more like in
Yeah, the
3
Rocketeer.
years. The Rocketeer.
Yeah, no, Rocketeer.
Oh, yeah.
We got
This is,
sidetracked.
this is what I wanted to know because your formative film, like The Rocketeer's on my body because it was the first film I saw in theaters.
You know, it was proto Iron Man. Like just it was. What did I say? It was Iron Man meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's
It's
why I like
just-
both of those films.
yeah.
With a bland lead.
Hey,
Just
He's
being
fine.
honest.
Listen,
Billy Campbell's good.
He's supposed to be
Oh,
vanilla.
it'd be
I like
Iron
it.
Man meets Indiana Jones meets some blue collar schlub.
Billy Campbell's
Meets the
fun.
aviator.
Sounds
Meets the
about right.
Aviator.
Yeah, that's why I like the
he
Aviator.
literally
Yeah,
meets the
literally
Aviator.
meets the aviator.
That's why
Yeah.
I like the Aviator too.
That's true.
Surprised I'm not more into planes like you are, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really surprised you're not. But then again, like my love for planes kind of stems more from like the decade after this.
Mhm.
Well, and where this film takes place, so like
yeah,
the
this is
19
like 37.
yeah 1940s is like where I get my love for airplanes. It's
Yeah.
from like the Warbirds,
It explains why I like the music.
but
though.
which also like ties into why I like the Rocketeer because like it's that whole style and
that era, yeah.
era
the Art
and
Deco.
like yeah, and like they go a little bit on the airplanes.
yeah,
They touch up
enough.
on it, but like
I
it's
should
just,
know what's
just
in
enough
this
to
one,
build
at
build
least.
the world building.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like they had a Zeppelin in there. Of course, the Germans would have a Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the
Oh, Timothy Dalton's
new.
incredible.
Oh yeah.
performance.
Well, then they also had. Didn't they do recently, or they were going to like an animated?
Mm-hmm. They had a kids
That,
show
Yeah.
where it's his granddaughter, great granddaughter.
I've never known
And they're still
Timothy
trying to reboot
Dalton
it.
as
Yeah.
James Bond. I've always known him as a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, but I think that's how I got introduced to a whole generation of people. Has never been known as James Bond. And then this is his first. I think this is his first
This
villain
for
role.
us.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I grew,
Hot
like,
Side
I
Flash
didn't
Gordon
see
going
his
from the
Bond
hero to
films, so
villain.
like when I found out that he was Bond, I'm like, he was
This
a good
was
guy.
shortly after the last one that he did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's actually, you reminded me, there. After we did our episode, we were discussing what we could do with a reboot, and they announced like a week later David Oyelowo is doing a Rocketeer movie.
Yeah.
Didn't say that he's going to be in it, but he's at least producing it and working with people.
He's a
to write it.
director now. He
So-
could direct it.
And it's supposed to
Yeah.
focus on the Tuskegee Airmen, which another great possibility. So
Yeah.
I wanted to have him in the war in the Pacific, that theater, but
That well,
just because he had faced off against Nazis. in
yeah,
this
but
one,
like that's the thing,
just
like the
switch it.
Tuskegee Airmen weren't in the Pacific Theater,
Right.
so
So it's fine.
that'd be a hard
it's
stretch.
a different
historically
thing
speaking.
anyway. Yeah, I'm just saying that's what I would have done when
Yeah.
we were snowballing.
Oh, that would be so cool if they did get the Tuskegee Airmen.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'm just thinking right off the bat, like how like the special effects or the like the visual animation design, everything about it would play out if like the Rocketeer was a Tuskegee Airman.
Hmm.
Because like the way that the Tuskegee Airmen would like dogfight is.
I'm sure that's what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh, yeah.
no, it would better happen. But like the way they dogfight is like they would fly around
We're
the
gonna screw this
bombers
up,
and
Dizzy.
like
Yeah.
basically protect them. Whereas like the white guys that were fighter pilots, they would pursue the enemy
Mhm.
all the way to their air base.
Yeah.
Which is where they get the designation P for the fighter planes back then. P-51, P-47, like pursuer.
Hmm.
They were meant to pursue the enemy. They didn't quite get into their head to like if you're going to defend a bomber, you should probably hang around the bomber till like the raid is done.
Yeah.
Which is what the Tuskegee Airmen did. They would hang around the bomber to stay close to them
Perfect
the whole way
for
around.
that,
They
too.
didn't like it was like I gotta get that kill to put a score on my plane. It was
Yeah.
like no, my job is to make sure these planes make it back.
Yeah.
So like imagine a guy with a rocket strapped to his back, just doing these like little dives and loop-de-loops around bomber planes.
Mm-hmm.
That would be dope.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
And it's basically Red Tails 2
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
was a part of that anyway.
Mm.
So,
Can't wait.
cool. And now we'll finally take a look at our number one film of 1991. One that was on all four of our lists, which did not happen last year.
Really? I'm
Yeah, I
genuinely.
think-
I thought
it was
Goodfellas
one
was
of
on all of our lists.
Was
wasn't it?
Goodfellas on all of ours? So it's the same thing as last year, I guess.
Yeah,
Wait, I'm
Was
pretty sure I
Goodfellas on your list
I'm
last
pretty
year?
sure I deliberately kept it off my list last year.
Really?
Like, I
Oh, so
I'm
Jimmy's
pretty
the
sure.
outlier.
Oh, so
Maybe
yeah.
we
But
could
maybe
we
you
could
were
double check.
sick.
I could be a liar.
Yeah, I have the card over there.
I am a felonious liar.
Yeah.
Naked Gun 2.5. Naked Gun 2.5. Oh.
Oh,
That
okay.
would be
So that makes
Terminator
sense.
2.
yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Yep. Which we didn't necessarily cover. We talked about how much we like it, and turns out it's on all of our lists. I was actually
It's
kind of
not
annoyed
really a
because
hidden gem. That's why it wouldn't be
right,
Yeah.
talked about.
like
as a main topic.
Goodfellas,
Yeah,
it was
Yeah.
one of the biggest films of the year,
Right.
if not the biggest.
I think it was number one at the box office.
Yeah,
Mm.
I definitely saw this a bunch in '92 on TV, unedited.
Yeah.
So I was definitely messed up by this movie.
Uh-huh.
Formed by this movie.
Actually, you know what?
Molded. even.
Molded,
Maybe even manufactured.
grown.
I'm actually thinking I did
Forked?
see this in the theater. This
Yeah?
might have this movie been.
You saw R-rated movie.
You might
My
have
parents
seen it
didn't care
before.
about stuff like that.
Ah,
Everyone was
very
a lot more
progressive.
lenient back in 1991.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
cared about that.
And their
Kids
kids
were
were the
chain
hair
smoking in the
long.
theater.
Yeah.
It did
You
not
know,
The redheaded friend.
I think it's okay to watch anything as so long as there isn't gratuitous amounts of sex.
Yeah, there's
For
no
kids.
sex in
Well,
this.
There is nudity.
Yeah, but it's
Arnold nudity.
Yeah.
and there's death.
Isn't there Arnold nudity in every Terminator movie, though?
I feel like yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he comes
No,
in,
yeah,
he
yeah.
appears.
That's
with
the
no
way
He
he
clothes.
appears, right. But I remember my first exposure to this movie was trading cards because I was
Just
just
like,
like, hey,
oh,
look,
yeah.
cool killer robot thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Um,
was marketed towards kids like crazy. There
Oh,
was,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was
Well, then there was the Universal ride, too. There
Oh,
was like
right,
the
yeah.
Universal 4D thing where it was like
Did I
it was
do
the
that one
3D
already?
glasses.
The travel through time one.
I think I
It
did.
They
was
that
filmed
too.
special scenes for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you get chased by Goo Cop,
I totally
Remember
forgot.
that?
Yeah.
T-1000.
T-1000.
Yeah, that was.
Robert Patrick.
I totally forgot I went on that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But that's the thing, it wasn't really a ride, it was more
It was an
like
experience
you were
to
sitting
see
in a
it.
theater watching it, you were wearing 3D glasses, and then at one point they had an Arnold impersonator run through the theater,
Yeah.
like shooting at people.
It was-
and, like,
it was
I forgot about
you
that.
can't do that
It was
now.
basically interactive movie.
Yeah, like 4D.
Right.
It's like Muppet Vision.
Yeah, 4D.
Just like this one's gonna be next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're coming to your living room.
Taking it on tour.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about this is, with every James Cameron sequel, they turn to a big action spectacle, just like Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first one's more horror oriented, more
Definitely.
sci-fi horror oriented,
Yeah, yeah.
post-apocalyptic, or pre-apocalyptic in this case.
I think
Yeah.
the
But,
first one's more of a thriller.
Definitely.
Than,
thriller.
yeah, definitely.
You
a
don't know
thriller.
what's
'Cause, like-
happening.
'cause,
you don't know
But
where
this
he's
is
going.
like where
what his motive
James
is.
Cameron really got into his big set pieces and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And I think just like Aliens, now that you know the premise, you don't need a lot of setup. Oh, a new robot? It's liquid this time? Definitely upgraded.
Well, you know what?
They're gonna have him come back, and now he's the failsafe. Okay.
Yeah, he's the savior.
Well,
instead
here's the
of
thing:
destroyer.
the marketing campaign deliberately left that out.
which is brilliant.
So you thought he was the villain again.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
See, that's good. That's
Which-
smart.
Which is also, at least for us, being
Nowadays,
kids,
that wouldn't happen.
we didn't know he
Nowadays,
wasn't the
nobody
villain.
cares.
I didn't know there was a first one when I first saw this, just like Fievel Goes West.
Yeah.
So I was just like, this is incredible. They think he's another robot, is what I thought.
You
I
see-
thought they sent two after her, but this one turns out to be good, was the twist.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I knew there was a movie before this because, like, whenever I go to other kids' houses and they're like, "Want to watch a movie?" I'm like, yeah, sure. And they'll be like, "T2?" I'm like, "T what?" They're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, Terminator 2." Or they would like, "Judgment Day," blah blah, and they were
Yeah.
like, "What's that about?" And then they would tell me like, "This is the sequel to Terminator," and I'm like, "Never seen that one." It's like, you don't have to worry. We'll just watch this.
Yeah.
But
I,
at like 5 or 6, it didn't matter. I just watch it, and I was like, "Yeah, no, this is pretty dope."
I didn't see the first one until I was 18. It was the summer right before I went to college, right before I met
I think I was about 11 when I saw the first one, maybe 10.
In
That
terms of
actually
people
might have
getting
been the last
snubbed,
movie I saw before
I was
saw it.
6 when I saw the first one.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh, wow.
wait. This was 1991. Yeah, no. At some point, I saw this one first. Then I saw the
Yeah, like all of us.
First
right.
one, second.
Yeah, the first one second. And I was like,
Yeah, I think we're at the age where we might see this one first because we're all about 6 when this comes out.
yeah.
In
this
terms of people
was-
getting snubbed by the Oscars, Linda Hamilton
She's so
probably
good.
Well,
should have got nominated for
She's
this.
so good.
This movie would have came out when I was like in theaters when I
You were
was
4.
4, but like
Yeah,
I saw
6,
it when
5,
I
4,
saw
3.
I saw it on a VHS. So like at 4 I was like, what's this now? Huh?
Mhm.
But like at 5 or 6,
I say 6 because that's when I finally saw it.
yeah, no, it
I
was
saw
5.
it in the summer
It
of
had to be
95.
5. Yeah.
And no matter what format you watch this in, the liquid metal stuff, it's
Still good.
state of the art. It's dazzling.
Yeah, it's
the
still-
effects.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
holds up.
they used new technology back then to, animate them, but like it was new technology that they spent like a couple $1 million on. Like nowadays, it's just only a few $1,000s.
ILM.
Yeah.
I still had this weird like headcanon mixture where I thought that this was in the same universe as The Secret World of Alex Mack.
Oh no!
They
Yeah.
both liquefied.
Nickelodeon, because they both turned into like
Robert
They
Patrick is
probably
the
like
So
utilized
Alex-
a cheap version of like what they developed.
Right.
Because like what was it, like Alex Mack was like what 96, 97?
Yeah,
I think
Bash.
so.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lot.
So like, okay, here's another
Right.
like Steven Spielberg with Jurassic Park. They use that laser scanning technology to like scan in 3D clay models to help like build the
The raptors.
CG.
Oh, for
Dinosaurs.
designs.
But like that technology when they developed it and like used it was like it was expensive, very expensive.
Right. Someone you,
Yeah,
you
so
have the
eventually-
powerhouse behind developing
So-
the technology, and then eventually it becomes
Yeah, and like
it
if,
trickles down.
and if you're gonna like use that new technology even as far back as then, like you're gonna make sure it's nice and polished and
Right.
good looking, which was
we
why
see
it'll
movies with
hold
effects
up, yeah.
nowadays. Not
Yeah,
that
they don't
aren't
put
nearly
in the
as good as
effort
this.
because like the technology was like it's like
Well,
with like they
Throwing a filter on
like
it.
like with Malcolm when
It
it was
was
like
also-
they take it they like package it and like repurpose it like blah 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 that
It was
quote.
also easier
Okay.
to hide the mats and stuff when it would, you do the digital stuff and then it would be scanned back onto film.
On the film,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not
The
digital.
yeah.
Yeah,
being
digital made
positive.
everything look a little waxy.
And so
Yeah,
it still
sure.
looked like it kind of all blended together, but now everything is shot digitally, edited digitally, projected digitally, so like
Right.
you
Yeah.
can watch it all now.
I think that's what I like about 90s films too, because they have that grit still that you got in the 70s and 80s,
Right.
but the film is as good as it will ever get,
Yeah.
at least at this point.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
it is clean, but then you have that almost nostalgic feel of it being.
But even when they do 4K scans of this, it still holds up.
Yeah.
Just to like kind of segue a little bit, like with the with modern CG compared to like old CG, especially it's like really good back then, like garbage now. I think a big problem with like modern effects, like if you're gonna insert like a character that's CG all of a sudden, or like an animal or a monster, like they kind of just throw out this concept of gravity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or shadows.
Like so
Yeah.
because like or shadow.
Nobody
like,
has
not so much
weight.
shadow, but like it's
Yeah.
the weight. Like you'll see like 180-pound man, 200-pound man. Like if he has superpowers, yeah, sure, whatever. That's whatever. You could wrap your brain around that a little bit, but like the way that they jump around and move around, like
Well,
go
in the
from
last
point A to point
Terminator
B,
movie,
it's
that
a little.
happened with Dark Fate.
It does. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not 100%.
It's too-
It's not.
too
It's not going to
true.
be. It's not ever going to be 100% like convincing. But
Yeah.
like when it comes to like the big monsters or the giant robots, like those things weigh a couple tons, and like it's going to take them a while. Like
They established
fight
that
gravity, and
when he's pushing him through the wall, like basically Robert Patrick,
oh yeah.
probably what 100 pounds of that.
yeah.
When he pushes him against the wall and he craters the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robert Patrick too. Great setup to have him be a cop for most of the film, because he has that trusting face and it lets him get around.
But then like he has a trusting face, but then like he just tilts his head a little bit, and then he's got the
that's
like
great.
oh hey, he might not be so trustworthy.
Also, on top of the action being really good, the script's pretty nuanced too with the Miles Dyson character.
Oh, Miles Dyson's my favorite part.
Yeah, because he's unwittingly put into this chain reaction where he's going to set off the apocalypse,
Mhm.
but he's
He's
a
told
family
who's the
man on
creator,
top of
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
So she's kind of got qualms about killing him.
Yeah, and like he wouldn't be the guy that would like be the linchpin in like developing the Terminators essentially if it weren't for the fact that they came across the remains of the last Terminator from the first movie.
Which
So it's a
he
great
innocently
continuation
thinks
of the
is
story.
neat.
That's why every subsequent sequel
Yeah.
is just adding on to something that's pretty much closed.
Yeah.
Also,
And this had the heart
yeah,
that you
no,
like.
as a kid, like throughout the whole movie, I didn't need any like fill-in or backstory. I was fine up until they came back to the lab to get the original arm. I'm like, wait, hold up, what's going on? They have his arm. Like that's when like the
I
other
didn't get
kids
that
around
as a
me
kid.
had to fill it in. It's like, no, that's from the last one, man. I was like, the last one's like the first movie when the Terminator was a bad guy. I'm like, oh. Okay.
I don't know what I thought, but I literally didn't realize that until I saw the first movie. So I think my brain just shut it out. Like maybe it was their prototype, and so Linda Hamilton's just trying to stop him before it's too late, knowing that this is when the prototype was made.
Right.
So I think I got it. It got deeper once I saw the first one finally.
Did you guys cry when you saw the other? The first time?
No,
Don't remember.
maybe.
When he lowers
I
himself
have.
down?
Yeah.
I don't like.
So I would imagine.
It's
yeah.
weird.
I was
As a
super
kid,
young. We didn't, like,
as a kid,
cry.
I
You
wouldn't.
couldn't process.
No, I mean, yeah, no. As a kid, I wouldn't be able to process it. I'm like, oh man, that's so badass. He's giving it a thumbs up as he's going into the lava. But as an adult, I'm like, oh man,
It is.
that the
I
robot
remember-
man has feelings.
No, I
Robot
definitely,
man's giving me feelings.
I definitely had it. Yeah.
Stop!
Oh no, it's Iron Giant all over again.
Oh yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's
They're
weird.
ready.
Like, I've noticed there's a lot of movies like as a kid I'll watch, I'll be unfazed, but now as an adult, I'm like looking back, I'm like, holy shit, that hits harder now that I'm an adult.
Perfect
Right.
toaster.
Yeah. I need to watch.
Never-ending story.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Uh-huh.
But
Fucking tree.
these are due for a rewatch. I think I might like marathon all these.
Mm-hmm.
All
Terminators?
of them.
I never
All
saw
the
the last
All
one.
of
Terminators?
them. I haven't seen the last like 3 of them.
Really don't
I'm
So-
never lucky.
I
Yeah.
haven't
really
seen
don't.
Genesis. I think the last one I saw was 4.
Salvation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to sit
Yeah.
down and like have an excuse
big
to munch
G
on
one.
popcorn, then sure, but by all means, go ahead and see
I've
that
heard the
one.
TV show's actually pretty good.
I like the TV show
Yeah.
quite a
Connor
bit.
Chronicles.
With
That's what I heard.
Lena
Yeah.
Headey.
Lena Headey,
Yeah,
yeah.
she plays Sarah Connor. She's very good in it.
Summer Glau.
And they're doing things that they appreciate the third film, but they actually like link some things without forcing continuity.
I know the
You know-
third film's kind of contrived, but I think it,
I feel
it
like
ties things up pretty
yeah, I
well.
feel like with no matter
The
what
third one.
Third one, yeah. the
no
third
matter
one's
what
fine.
with the Terminator movies, whatever comes out, like it'll be so easy to just like be like, oh yeah, no, it's not canon because it's time travel.
Yeah.
Like you could legitimately.
But the time travel in the first movie doesn't even make any
That's why I don't
sense.
yeah, no, that's why like no matter what version of Terminator, like you could sit there and like okay, you could just like
Time
just,
travel is time
you can
travel.
uncanon it in your
Whatever.
head. Your own head canon could be like,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
That's why I don't mind the fifth one
Yeah.
because I like Amelia Clarke and Jason Clarke as actors.
I agree.
And I thought they
Yes.
did fine.
That's why
It's
here.
a guilty pleasure.
was-
the
with
But
film.
it's not a good film for
Yeah.
time travel. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any
Yeah,
sense.
with the
You
one
don't watch it for the time travel.
when,
Yeah.
when people were shitting on the Christian Bale one, like
Yeah, I don't like
It's
it,
terrible.
but that's because it's dark and dull.
yeah, but like I didn't
it's
mind
not really
it.
Bale's
Like
fault.
yeah, I didn't mind.
I'll
I didn't
admit
mind it.
that.
I was like, I thought it was fine. It was like it's
You know
the Terminator.
the problem
You
with
could
those
just know what
movies
else
is
to
by
do.
this point, he's the face of the franchise.
And he's a
Yeah.
You
government
don't want to
man.
see a movie without him.
I mean,
At this
his
point.
face was in the movie.
Like you're not
Well,
going
I
to
think
watch
at
a
that
Die
point-
Hard movie without Bruce Willis,
At
even
that
though you
point,
know
he
he's
was-
gonna sleepwalk through it.
Yeah, at
Running
this point-
California, wasn't he? Like during the
Yeah.
Christian Bale
Yeah,
years?
Yeah, so they
he's
had a
elected right after the
stand-in.
third movie.
yeah, they had
They
the
had a
C-
digital stand-in.
yeah,
for
well,
him.
they,
Yeah, I
well, it
remember
was
that.
cool. They
Like,
CGI'd like the original,
His
like
face.
his face from the first movie, the
84, yeah.
'84 movie. So like he looked like he came from the '80s, even though he was fresh off the production line.
Now you want to talk about special effects not aging well? The special effects of using an older version, new technology to capture an older version of an actor in a new movie
Sky Captain. A little
looks
bit.
terrible.
I was gonna say
Yeah, it was a
the
year
one
after
time where I
Sky
was
Captain.
like, when I really thought they got that technology right, where they started to get it right, was Ant-Man
Mhm.
with the
Yeah.
early scenes with Michael Douglas.
And
I was
then-
like, okay, they're making younger
Michelle
guys.
and
Pfeiffer.
then,
It looks
and then
fine.
what was it? Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One's not
When-
bad.
with when
You
they
still see
when they
some
came up with what's his
scenes.
face, and we're like,
Oh,
whoa! I thought he
Peter-
was dead for like
Peter-
10 years.
Yeah, he's been dead since '94 at that
Cushing.
point. So
Oh.
Peter Cushing, I thought looked alright. It's a little off.
It's like it
almost
like,
there.
yeah, you're right. It's almost there with
He
but,
looked
like,
perfect in the reflection.
I think
and when
Michael
they turned
Douglas
the camera
was-
Yeah,
around,
no, it was like
Uncanny
again
Valley.
like
yeah.
that's when I noticed it when
But-
the camera angles changed. Like when he was still and he didn't move, like you could be convinced. But like once when he started moving, like it's just like
Sorry.
I guess that required animation, and so the program was like, okay, gonna do the best I can.
Yeah,
Or-
and I mean we can credit it to this. This is where all that technology
Yeah,
came from. So
sure.
bringing it back around.
Fun little bit. Speaking of special effects and being reused and like copied, James Cameron recopied his own special effects, like The Abyss.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it happens again. But like he combined.
That was basically liquid metal.
Yeah. Like he animated water, but it was the same thing as same concept.
But the aliens kind of look like the T-1000.
Mm-hmm. So they could meld that stuff and make it look like it was really happening.
I've never seen The Abyss, so I don't know.
It's
really
good.
good.
It's good.
It's good.
I've heard that was one of Ed Harris's most harrowing experiences.
Almost drowned.
Oh well.
A couple times.
I mean, James Cameron's known for being kind of a taskmaster on set.
Lovely.
Like another director we know. Anyway.
Who, Jeff?
No, Copperfield.
Of this. So, I wanted to let you know, Jeff, how you did. And last year, I didn't really go through the poster boys.
That was
How I did in what?
Oh, poster boy.
Poster Boy.
Yeah, your points.
My favorite segment.
So I didn't exactly get it from last year. I wanted to get both years so I could tell you how you had done last year.
I know.
But I at least calculated this year, and I would like to say that, Jeff, for the year 1991, you accumulated 67.5 points. You may think that's amazing, but it's out of a potential 240.
So like I was about to say, you got a D minus, but that sounds more like a I don't know.
And I would like to mention
Super
that
D minus
work.
Jimmy got 10 points.
Wait, how the fuck did I get
You
10?
Jimmy
swooped
got
in
that.
and gave the title.
Yeah, you gave the title in one of them, and you gave a suggestion of something. You
need
got
to-
3 points in November.
You need to walk me
What
through
movie was it?
your
So
Yeah,
I'd
you
like
gotta
to-
let me know when I'm in on it too.
We're not going to show you the meat inside. So basically, I give you a couple points if you're close. If you give the correct synopsis, I give you even more. If you give a better synopsis, I give you even more than that. If you get a better title, about the same as a better synopsis. If you get the right title without like prompting, we give you the most points. So you got that like twice. You got better synopsises like 5 times.
I mean, I feel like the score should be
You
like
should be getting about
Yeah,
100. 60 is good. I think 100 is great.
The problem was
Well,
a lot.
think-
If
but
I
I don't think you
recall,
ever get 200.
maybe the 200
This is like bowling a 300.
after 100 should be like the bonus range.
And
Like,
I think as we go on, you're going to start knowing the posters as soon as we give them. So you might get to 240.
I also think part of the problem
If you know all 12.
this past year was a lot of the posters. It was the name of the main character,
Right.
so you're not
like
going to be
Dutch.
able to guess that.
Yeah.
Dutch
You're never
and
gonna get
Oscar.
Dutch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got Suburban Commando.
That's
you
right.
got something earlier in the year. I think Mannequin 2, you figured it out
Yeah.
and knew that it wasn't the first one. Rover Dangerfield you had heard of, so once you realized that's what it was, you got it.
Don't tell Mom and Baby there's
Stuff
dead.
like
he
that.
already knew. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah,
that
so
I-
you got that one,
Yeah.
which is fine. That you get the points for that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But then we have to ask different questions.
So should I jump in more often so I
Sure.
can get points?
Which one did Jimmy get?
Oh, God, why
you
competition?
could have had
This is
74.
supposed to be my thing, man.
Well, I mean, it is your thing, but
Jimmy
I
got
know
10.
I know sometimes like that 10 points is probably for me
That's
trolling
true.
you.
Yeah, you
That's
could have
true.
gotten 74.
What was the one that Jimmy got? Do you remember?
You got 3 points in November for People Under the Stairs. I forget why, because I was doing this at 1 in the morning today. You got 7 points because you guessed popcorn before Jeff could.
Oh, the movie Popcorn?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember that happening, but I'll take
It
it.
was the skull with the mask of a woman, half off, and you were like, "What do you get when you go to a movie?" And Jimmy was like, "Popcorn."
Oh, I was answering the question.
Yeah.
Come on,
You
that's
should superimpose
It'd be weird if he was like
these,
gonorrhea.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. What movie theaters are you going to?
butter. I just want the butter. No popcorn.
Necessary Roughness was the worst one, I think, because we were all like, "I don't know, it's football." But you were noticing the people in the tiny pictures, and you could guess who they were. You saw Sinbad and
Yeah.
Scott Bakula and stuff, so
Man, you were doing that through a tiny screen, weren't
it was
you?
very hard.
That was very
Blurry picture, too. So, but you did all right. I think you did better this year than you did last year, so my guess is you got about like 40 or 50. I'm not 100%
40
sure.
or 50
Points. from
more
Points
points.
last year.
1990, yeah.
Well, he's improving, so
Yay!
So I did want to ask a couple other questions too. Like we said last year with the best of 1990, I kind of wanted to go into, did any of these films have any effect on you? Having like new films that we didn't really know before that we discovered for this. Obviously, Jeff had Harley Davidson become his favorite film of the year. I had Boys in the Hood in my top 5.
You know what?
Uh,
Actually, one that Jeff suggested, Dogfight,
Yeah.
was I thought it was really good because I hadn't seen River Phoenix I haven't seen much of his work up until now,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it was a good staged performance. I
That
thought.
ended up in
I
my
have a
top
better appreciation for the style of humor that you would get from a movie like L.A. Story.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a kid, I would have been like, this is stupid, this is dumb, it makes no sense, this is retarded. Adults watch this, but now that I'm older and, I'm smarter,
Okay.
like, it's a lot funnier. So, like, I get it now. Like, as a kid, I would be like, this is dumb. But now it's just like, oh, okay,
West Coast satire.
let's go
Mhm.
satire. Like,
Yeah.
and also, I was a Southern kid, so, like, I would be like, what are these yuppies being
Yeah.
dumb about?
But
Like,
that's the joke.
yeah, that's a joke. Because,
So,
they're
yeah.
like, I
We can,
get it
they
now.
can laugh at themselves, but we can also laugh with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Like-
Steve Martin got it.
Yeah. I mean, I learned that they're just the tastes of the time, and like some of the movies that I liked were the ones that were just like terribly panned,
Mm-hmm.
like Harley Davidson, and actually to a point, Cool as Ice.
Mm-hmm.
It
It was
was
better than I thought it
an
would be.
experience.
What?
Yeah.
We keep saying this and you keep getting shocked.
I feel
Better
like,
we
than
don't
you
think
thought
it's
it was.
I don't know, I feel like Cool as
Not the
Ice would be...
worst film.
If you go into it expecting nothing more than this is Vanilla Ice
A
in
vanity project?
like, it was, I don't know. It
It's
was.
not
yeah.
the answer to Boys in the Hood that he
It's
thought
not
it
good.
was.
I mean,
It's- I mean,
I mean,
Boys in
how
the Hood
could
was-
it be?
Boys in the Hood was
It's about
brilliant.
a white rapper out in like
Knocking-
Farmsville,
knocking ladies off their
California,
horses.
bumping into
Right.
some rich white girl, be like, "Hey, yo, how's it going?"
It's-
Gaslighting people.
yeah,
and
it's
harassing-
just-
That
it's
is
a
a
shitty
bad
movie, but
bad.
it's like it's something you can have on in the background. But the cinematography is pretty because you understand.
Oh, yeah, no,
you can do it
cinematography-
You
It's
can
great,
have it on in the
but-
background, but you still have to listen to the music.
But honestly, like Boys in the Hood was the one that obviously
reverberated,
resonated the most with us.
Yeah.
echoed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no,
And it was definitely like it was a true what's the word I'm looking for?
Urban.
It's not no. I'm just saying it wasn't what we normally watch because we don't really.
because we're
Hey,
white.
it's typical.
We're covering like schlock stuff,
Yeah.
and then this,
Right.
and
This
you know,
isn't a
it
hidden
was-
gem to a certain demographic, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's a hidden gem to people that are sort of ignorant of what is going on in the world. So
What?
yeah.
Right.
I guess it
It's
gives us more of a
timelier
glimpse
than
into
normal.
African American culture that we normally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Feels like-
timely. That's all. That's it.
I mean,
was-
given
was
that
still-
it came out
it's
in
still-
1991, like there's still like
Gentrification
The same
and stuff
issues.
like that. That's still
like
going
there's
on.
still
Same
like
issues.
a lot of people just don't like grasp what their life is like, even to this day.
Yeah.
Um,
And the fact that it was a month before Rodney King spells everything
Right.
that you won't learn from it even,
Right.
but that we can hope to. The one thing I want to do, something that does happen in 1992, if you'll advance the next slide, the 1991 Oscars.
oh God.
So, the 1992 Oscars, the ones for 91, were the third time, I believe, where the 5 major categories were won by one film. The Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay all went to Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
That's too much power.
And I wanted to maybe do this last year. We discussed this after we did Best in 1990, but when I had wanted to talk about awards in general, I think the Oscars is the hallmark of all awards, especially for what we're doing, movies-wise. You know, we could talk about what won the Golden Globes and stuff as well, but at least for now, I wanted to see each of us get a category and say what we thought would have been Best Actor or Actress or whatnot, and then discuss a little bit. So I thought I'd start off with Jeff. If you want to go right into that, Best Actor. I can tell you the 5 that were actually nominated, and as you know, Anthony Hopkins won for
Yeah.
Best Actor for Hannibal
So
Lecter.
you're saying like who I would have picked?
Yeah, who you would have picked? Would you have picked someone that totally different?
I was
If
gonna
you
say,
wanna
does it
guess-
necessarily have to be of the 5?
It doesn't have to be one of the 5. If you
Okay.
thought like Mickey Rourke deserved it for Harley
Oh,
Davidson, you're allowed
Don
to pick.
Johnson. No.
You're allowed to pick that.
Daniel Baldwin.
Or like, and would you rather me read the 5 first?
Let's-
Or
yeah.
Do you
No,
want
no,
to
no,
say
no.
who
Your pick should be
pick?
Ernest.
Yeah.
Jim
kinda
Varney
wanna
would've
do
been
Ernest.
good.
No, no, I mean, I think you should. No. I think you should be earnest about his choice. That's what I was talking about, guys. Come on.
Oh, okay.
No,
No,
it's
Jim
like,
Varney
it should be Ernest.
Jim Varney should be best
Yeah,
actor in perpetuity.
Yeah.
What were the 5?
You want to know the 5 first?
Let's know what the 5.
So obviously Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
Warren Beatty for Bugsy, which was on
that's right.
2 of our lists, but a little low. Robert De Niro for Cape Fear. Nick Nolte for The Prince of Tides, which after you told us about that synopsis, Jimmy and I want to check out.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams for The Fisher King.
That was actually going to be my pick, was
Yeah.
Robert Williams.
Really?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
He would have won a little early. Anthony Hopkins still would win in 2020.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad pick.
that's true.
Do you guys agree with that?
What, I would have picked Robin Williams out of those 5?
Yeah, I haven't seen it,
Yes.
so I can't say.
I know De Niro's kind of like the Meryl Streep of getting nominated, other than Jack Nicholson, because that performance in Cape Fear is pretty campy.
But he's a good actor, so you think it's good. He was
Honestly,
nominated
yeah.
the year before for Awakenings.
Yeah. No, I would go with Robin Williams. Because again, he alternates between being heartbreaking, comedic. It's a very multifaceted performance. So
I actually would go with Warren Beatty for Bugsy. We just watched it since
Yeah.
we had missed it for our December discussion, but I think it's honestly his best performance. So I think he has the charm
I don't have much
of an
to-
old school
I don't,
actor, but
I don't have much to compare his performance from Bugsy.
Dick Tracy.
I mean, that's about it. Like, I don't have much to compare.
you never saw Bonnie and Clyde or Reds.
Funnily enough, I have not seen Bonnie and Clyde, and
watch
I
that.
should have by now.
Yeah,
Like,
because that I would have said was his best performance, but I think Bugsy surpasses that now for me. It might be my
It's a great
favorite film
movie.
he's done.
Oh, nice.
It was 6th for my list, so it just was under Boys in the Hood.
Okay.
And then Silence of the Lambs, actually. So
I'm actually surprised Dogfight was not in the top 5.
that was in my top 10. I think it was 9.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm actually surprised it wasn't in yours.
Yeah.
And I actually might put River Phoenix in there if
I
it
mean-
was seen more.
Actually,
Yeah,
I
it
would have
was-
nominated him,
Mhm.
River Phoenix.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because River Phoenix was also on my list for the best actor. Because it was, I don't know. I like Dogfight. It was just, it was weird because going into it, having done the show first and then seeing the movie, I don't know. There were things that I don't know. It hit different. I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah,
Was what I
I'm
wanna,
sure.
What I want to say.
It's
But
a
River
very
Phoenix was
unique
great.
experience
And
you
Lily,
had with it.
oh my God, what was her name? The
Lily
woman who played
Taylor?
Rose.
Taylor?
Lily Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, was great.
Yeah, I actually like her a lot. We'll get to that when I do my category.
Oh, there you
For
go.
Corey, I was going to give you Best Screenplay.
Best screenplay? I'm guessing Fisher King was
Oh
nominated.
yeah, I gotta show you. Now obviously there's 2 in there. There's Best Original and Best Adapted. You can just pick which one you would have given something to. So Silence of the Lambs won Best Material Previously Produced or Published, as it was
Mhm.
called back then. It was also up against the foreign film Europa, Fried Green Tomatoes, JFK,
Okay.
and The Prince of Tides. The original winner was Thelma and Louise, and it was up against Boys in the Hood, Bugsy, The Fisher King, and Grand Canyon.
Oh, one of the worst scripts.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm gonna.
If you want to see the list, just so you don't.
I would probably maybe pick something not on that list.
Yeah?
Yeah, Soapdish.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love the witty banter in that.
What was Soap Dish again?
Soapdish is a satire of soap operas, daytime soap operas, with Sally Field and Kevin Kline. And yeah, it's almost got like a Preston Sturges quality to the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very fast paced,
I imagine.
snappy.
I imagine it would be an original, right? It wasn't based on anything.
No, it's not based on
Yeah,
anything.
so that would have won for original, but that's fine either way. Best Actress winner, as you would guess, is Jodie Foster. She was up against Gina Davis for Thelma and Louise, as well as Susan Sarandon for Thelma and Louise.
Mm.
I imagine they
They
probably
split the vote. Yeah, they split
Yeah.
the vote.
Not that Jodie Foster isn't probably the best of these 5, but Laura Dern for Rambling Rose and Bette Midler for the Boys were also nominated.
Good
This is the
God.
thing I was telling
That's
you
a
last
weak
night.
category.
She goes to like sing for the troops. And I forget. I don't even
James
remember
Caan.
what Rambling Rose is
Mark
about.
Rydell directed that.
Yeah. I would actually think you mentioned Lily Taylor. I actually would put her in there for Dogfight, but
Mm.
I loved Annette Bening in Bugsy, so I might pick her.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always liked her in a lot of different roles.
That's the
like
movie
American
that she
President.
fell in love with Warren Beatty, and the
Yeah.
audience fell in love with her.
There's clearly a palpable chemistry. That's what I think made them shine in this film. So,
Mm-hmm. Holly Hunter for Once Around.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That was his fifth film.
Yeah.
So, or fourth. I think it was your fourth.
Yeah, one.
Yeah. A movie I had completely forgotten about because I've not seen it.
I know, that's
It was
sad. If you're a Richard
I should
Dreyfuss
watch
fan,
it.
you should see it.
I was gonna say Jodie Foster, like, 'cause,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
like
no.
I just agree, because she in Silence of the Lambs, that was.
Too bad she
Top
didn't.
notch.
Too bad she didn't reprise that role in later Hannibal.
Yeah.
Well,
movies.
yeah, that's. I hope
That was
contract
kinda disappointing,
negotiations, that's
yeah.
why. But she had to hold her own because she was up against Anthony Hopkins, and that's a hammy performance.
Mm-hmm.
And to have equal footing with that, that's not easy.
It makes you think it isn't
No.
Hammy because of her. I think she's even better than Anthony Hopkins. So
Yeah.
if anyone
She's
deserved it
grounded.
most, it was her.
He's a little more animated. She's grounded.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
she's
like-
also the audience surrogate.
You're making me
Yeah,
think I
like
should touch Jodie.
he I feel like with Anthony Hopkins, like I've heard for Hannibal Lecter, like he honed in, like his frame of reference was to like hone in on an animal and make it like human, and I think his focus was like when he was portraying Hannibal Lecter.
He's like a python.
Snake,
Yeah,
like
he's like-
python or snake.
He has
So-
glassy eyes.
yeah,
throughout
so,
whole
like,
movie.
the way
he
he,
doesn't
like-
blink.
Yeah. So I guess like his hammy performance could be like unnerving if
Mhm.
you're not used to that like psychopathy.
Well, it's also interesting that he won, and if if you had seen Manhunter, the original, Red Dragon,
Mm.
Brian Cox plays Hannibal Lecter, and that plays him completely different.
Have you guys watched the show?
Yeah, I love the
I
show.
never did.
Vance
I
Mikkelsen's
want
great.
to. You told me to watch
Yeah,
it. Something to get around to.
they were about to introduce Clarice,
Yeah.
It's on
and
the
they
list.
canceled it.
And then they did a show Clarice this past year,
Right.
which
That's probably why
doesn't
they
look any
canceled
good.
it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna do our own.
Ugh. Well, anyway, Jimmy, now that you've had enough time to think about it, who would you pick as best director? Do you want to go?
No, I
Ernest-
already know. Like I
Ernest
picked
or-
out like I was
Wow.
dicking around earlier, but like
Oh, okay.
James Cameron,
Ah,
because one like he created a summer blockbuster.
sure.
So like there's Exhibit A, Exhibit B. He helped mold a generation of youngsters that
Mhm.
grew up on his brand of sci-fi essentially.
Interesting. You wouldn't have known that in '94.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known it by
in
but like
hindsight,
in
I guess you
hindsight,
can.
yeah, it's like this is why it's
I mean,
perfect
I'll
that
have
I'm
to
giving
admit-
this assessment now because like
You're not wrong.
I was totally expecting a Terminator and Alien to show up on the Titanic. That's why. That's the real reason it sank. It
Yeah.
wasn't the iceberg.
They're pulling.
Damn
cords.
xenomorphs.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the five that were actually nominated, because James Cameron was not. That's
Yeah.
correct. Jonathan Demme, is it Demi?
Demi.
Jonathan Demme won for Silence of the Lambs. John Singleton was nominated for Boys in the Hood, youngest ever nominated director. Barry Levinson was nominated for Bugsy. Oliver Stone for JFK, and Ridley Scott did Thelma and Louise. Yeah, I actually agree with your assessment. I think any of those five are good choices as well. So it's actually a really good class for 91. What about you guys? Do you think?
Honestly, I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because he has a good control of the actors.
Mhm.
Like Arnold doesn't really. He's not a very.
He
He doesn't have a huge range. But
yeah.
he knows how to get him to play within that. And Linda Hamilton hasn't been that impressive, and Edward Furlong
Never.
in other roles just comes off plain annoying. And he's innovated technology in this,
Yeah.
so it's just like a huge Herculean responsibility
I'll
that
take
You
it.
joining us?
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
do
you
it.
did say
I
that.
was.
You did already say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
That's cool.
join.
Unanimous.
Yeah, it was-
So
I was pretty spot on with that assessment, wasn't I?
for the final one, I figured we'd all just kind of discuss Best Picture, agree what might be picked. You already know that Silence of the Lambs won, and I went away from it to look at Ridley Scott.
what was
But
weird about Silence of the Lambs winning is normally these Oscar movies come out in November,
Mhm.
December. That came out in February,
mm-hmm.
Oh
one of the
wow.
earliest.
which is weird because the Oscars have a very collective short memory
Yeah.
when it comes to this thing.
And we had mentioned at the beginning of this year's season that it was out the same week as Dances with Wolves. It's maybe the only time that the two consecutive Best Picture winners are out at the same time. I can't tell you that that's ever happened since, for sure. Also nominated against Beauty and the Beast, the first animated film to be nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, right.
Bugsy, JFK, and The Prince of Tides. And we could all pick something else.
Well, for innovative technology, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, they combined CG with traditional animation almost seamlessly. Nobody noticed until somebody was like, hey, check that out. They're like,
They
"Whoa."
did it in The Rescuers down under.
I mean, yeah. But
Never
Beauty
gets
and the
the
Beast
credit.
did it better. No.
Hmm.
I mean, it's Disney. They fooled everybody.
They
into thinking
continue
that
to improve, so.
So Best Picture?
Yeah,
Fisher King.
okay. Makes sense. You're number one of the year.
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, wow. 2 Beauty and the Beast. That probably would win for us if the
Oh, is
two
that what
of
you
us.
picked?
No, I'm going with Boys in the Hood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
as much as I love Terminator 2, I don't know that it would win Best Picture. And I think, honestly, better than Silence of the Lambs, all three of them.
Oh, wait. The Hard Way. The Michael J. Fox.
Hard Way's this year. Did you forget about the Hard Way?
I forgot about it. That should have
This
been on my
changes
list.
everything.
This changes. It would have been my top 10. Wouldn't have been the top 5.
Would have
though.
been number one? Would it have beaten Fievel?
No.
Okay.
It would have been, like I said, it would have been
No.
top 10, not top 5. Like somewhere around 6 or 7.
Okay, so just beating the Doors.
Just being epic.
Oh,
yeah.
shit, The Doors.
Did you
Yeah.
forget about the Doors?
Yeah,
I
Okay,
changed my
can I
answer
go
to
back?
The Doors.
Okay, so
All right,
Go back.
cut.
Oh, no.
Val
Okay,
Kilmer
okay.
should have been.
Okay, so like,
This is why we need to prep beforehand.
I told you 3 weeks ago. Give me your lists. We did it all last night.
so yeah, no, but like for like
The Oscar
the
category, I should've
other
thought about
5
this.
films that I picked were like a total of 10. Like the reason they were later on my list is because like half of them I had just recently seen, so like the nostalgia factor wasn't entirely there.
Dude, I wish we'd known this beforehand because I would have picked Val Kilmer for Best Actor.
Guys, I'm
Yeah.
really bad at this.
Yeah, Val Kilmer would have been great for
I'm
Doors.
bad
And
at
I'm looking
movies.
through
There's a
my
reason
list.
I did the poster boy thing.
Damn it. I might have
Commercial.
changed my screenplay one too.
Yeah, for Doors.
Nah, I probably would have made it the last Boy Scout. Damn it.
That's okay. You can still say that.
I mean, it's too late. Once one is said, you can't. No takes
We're
you back.
still rolling.
I should look at my list.
And this is why we're not in the Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't make up my
Yeah.
mind.
Abstentions.
Yeah.
Is there any themes that anybody noticed throughout the year?
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. I don't know.
I noticed there was a lot of ending of the Cold War tensions,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Nicholas Meyer movies. Weirdly enough,
Yeah, with
both in
Undiscovered Country.
Company Business and Undiscovered Country, both Cold War allegories.
Mm-hmm. We're still
100%.
dealing with that at this point because it's only
I mean-
a year fresh.
I mean, T2, like that's nuclear apocalypse. That's still like
We're still
Cold
fearful.
War like themed essentially,
Mhm.
like Doomsday. Like
Any other actors that you liked popping up a lot? Trying to think. We thought John Candy did.
yeah, no, we didn't. We mixed
That's
that.
Dom DeLuise. Actually, John Candy did have 2 good movies this year.
Delirious and
Only the Lonely.
oh right.
So we
And-
were right.
Wasn't he in another movie? Wasn't he in a film that Dan Aykroyd created with Bill Murray?
Oh yeah, actually I love that movie. Nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble.
Oh, so
Nothing
he
but
had-
trouble.
That should be
3
up there.
out of box. Look
Yeah.
at that.
91's a hard year to pin down because I think America didn't know which direction it was going to go in, and we thought, okay, we've solved the Cold War, and then
And
we
then
have to
it
deal
was-
with internal affairs.
then also the Gulf War was like
yeah, it's still
kinda
raging.
happening.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued to see where 92 takes us. So, and we'll start becoming monthly as soon as we choose what we're going through in 1992. But we're going to try as
Depression,
best
that's what
we
we're going
can to pinpoint the date at which our episodes
yeah.
are going to come out.
Soon. Oh,
So-
okay.
All right, take us out.
Okay.
Jimmy's getting punchy.
Yep. We're glad you joined us for the second year of our journey. We hope you stick with us for the rest of the 8 that we have ahead of us. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Comment. Tell us what your favorite movies in 1991 were. Tell us what your favorite episodes were.
Who is your favorite?
If you have
Validate
any,
us.
If you have
Which one-
any,
Which one of us is your favorite?
If you have any suggestions for 1992, we'd appreciate it. We're gonna choose right now, but maybe we'll change.